Hi, I'm Jenny Harkleroad, the author of Breaking to Be Me, and today we're talking about Chapter 4, Where Does Pain Come From? Now, this is a fascinating question and really a hard one to wrap your mind around. Well, you stub a toe, that's where pain comes from, right? You have an accident and break something, that's where pain comes from. But what about chronic pain? What about pain that just lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts? Well, the interesting thing is pain is felt from the brain. Your hand is not actually hurting if your hand's hurting. There's a signal telling you that your hand is hurting. There's not actual pain in your tissue. Isn't that fascinating? At least that's what doctors and scientists have taught me. So what about that long-term pain? So I think back to my life. So in elementary school, stomach aches all the time. I lived in the nurse's office. Junior high school, put on prescription pain pills for like girl cramps, right? Menstrual cramps, I can't think of the word, menstrual cramps. Then what was it? Let's see, backaches. Oh my gosh, in high school, so much pain in my back. My poor chiropractor dad was always trying to fix it. Why was there so much tension in my back? Then in my 20s, it went to migraines. Oh, always had a headache. I was always sick, so I was always taking all these extra supplements, immune support herbs. Then in my 30s, I had surgery for endometriosis because I'd been taking for like over 10 years about 30 ibuprofen a day every time I was having menstrual pain, which was a lot. That's too much ibuprofen. So I went to go get a test for life insurance and they said, you're in liver failure. And I stopped taking ibuprofen, but then I couldn't handle the pain. So I would literally take Tylenol and Advil and like rock myself in a ball crying for like a week, a month, and then I'd be back to life. And then 3 weeks later, I'd be, I guess a month later, right? I'd be curled up in a ball again, crying. And so they put me on Vicodin, which, it's kind of, I don't know, for me, I couldn't quite function with that stuff. And it really didn't help the pain all that much. So I had surgery for that endometriosis. And then when that didn't work, then I had a full hysterectomy. Well, after that surgery, then I started having all these infections, bladder infections and bacterial infections. And like for a year and a half, all these infections. And then I felt like I still had these infections. And then they would test and it wouldn't be there. And so they diagnosed me with what they call interstitial cystitis, which is like bladder pain, but they can't find a problem, right? And so I had this like constant bladder pain going on. And then I break my back in a hiking accident, right? Could I not catch a break? Well, I guess I did, a big break, right? So then trying to get better for my back and, acupuncture and chiropractor, massage and physical therapy. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. I'm just saying it wasn't working for me. And so then major surgery, rods, screws, synthetic disc, not helping. What the heck? Why can't I get rid of my pain? So then I meet this 86-year-old medical doctor who does muscle testing, which I'm familiar with, I'm comfortable with. My chiropractor dad used muscle testing. Muscle testing is a way to tap into your system, see what's going on, see what's wrong. And his muscle test showed that all my pain, especially my back pain, that's what we were working on, was emotional pain. I told him he was crazy. It's not emotional, it's structural. Like, here's my medical file on my back. Like, it's structural. And he said, there's a door. And I said, no, no, no. I'll do your little voodoo mind reprogramming stuff and see what happens. Well, we had a session, nothing happened. Had another 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 session, nothing happened. And I'm thinking, I'm spending so much money trying to fix myself. Do I give up on this idea or do I keep trying? Well, thankfully, I tried one last time. Hopefully I counted right in that little sample, 6 times, because the day after the 6th session, my pain just turned off like a light switch, like it was gone. I was like, don't move, it might come back. And it didn't come back. I was fascinated. I was blown away. What just happened? Well, what we did was we released the pressure, we released the tension. It was like I was like doing bicep curls, and I was like, my bicep's burning, my bicep is burning. And the doctor is like, well, stop doing that. And as soon as I did, it stopped burning. So it was like all this emotional pain I had stored up in my system from all these decades of issues that I just suppressed, that I didn't deal with. And it was like, tension in my back, tension in my back. As soon as I dealt with all that stuff, the burning stopped. Oh my gosh. What a miracle it was. Well, then I started studying the power of the mind even more, and I started studying doctors like Dr. John Sarno, who believes that almost all physical issues, chronic physical issues, have to do with repressed subconscious emotion, especially rage and anger. And you think, I don't have rage, I don't have anger, but this is suppressed subconscious, so you don't know what's in there. So we have a process at Balance You where we can muscle test and see what's going on, see what's getting in your way, and help you reprogram it. But the thing I want you to understand is that when you feel pain in your body, there's a question I want you to ask yourself, and it's not what's wrong with me, because that will take you to the doctor's office and lead you through a trail of modalities that may or may not help and might not be the root of the problem. And if you don't get to the root of the problem, guess what happens? Even if that problem subsides, it pops up somewhere else. It's like playing whack-a-mole with your pain. And I don't know about you, but that was my life. Like, got rid of one problem, here's the next. Got rid of another physical problem, here's the next physical problem. Here's the next pain point. So ask yourself this question: what subconscious emotion am I blocking right now? And I just want you to think about it. So here's an example. I'll go for a walk. All of a sudden, in the middle of the walk, my knee starts hurting. And in the past, before I got this down, I would think, well, what's wrong with my knee? Why is my knee hurting all of a sudden? And if I stuck with that, I probably would go home, maybe take something if it's really hurting, put some ice on it. I might call somebody, chiropractor, massage, and the more it hurts, the more I keep looking into what's wrong with it. But if you ask yourself, what subconscious emotion am I blocking, and think about it. Did something just happen that I was like thinking about on my walk and I didn't even realize it? And I have some emotion tied to it that I'm not in touch with? I'll give you an example. So that story with my knee. I thought, you know what? I just got off a phone call with my daughter before the walk, and at a surface level, it seemed fine. But subconsciously, maybe not so fine. Maybe I was a little frustrated by a comment she said, and maybe I was just blowing it off, but it bothered me on the inside, and I wasn't letting that come to surface because I was so grateful to talk to my daughter, glad she called, I miss her, she's grown up and moved away, right? So I just thought, how would I rather feel about what she said that could have maybe annoyed me? And I thought about it, and as I was thinking about it, I started thinking, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. This is the craziest thing. So now every time I get an ache or a pain that I don't know where it came from, like my throat starts hurting, my head starts hurting, my back starts hurting, my stomach starts hurting, I don't say what's wrong with my head or my back or my knee or my shoulder or wherever it is. I say, what subconscious emotion am I blocking? And I try to work through it with myself. And most often I can get rid of it. It is fascinating. It is amazing. I highly recommend Dr. John Sarno. He's got some really great books: Healing Back Pain, The Divided Mind, The Mind-Body Solution. And he talks about, even if you see images in medical images, imagery, MRIs, X-rays, etc., and see a problem, that doesn't mean there needs to be pain. The pain can be something else. It's a fascinating field of study, and it's a hard one to wrap your mind around, which is why I'm blabbing on here, because it's not how we think. It's not how most of us were raised. We were raised to think if something hurts, something's wrong with our physical body, and we need to look into that thing. So I challenge you, ask yourself that new question: what subconscious emotion am I blocking? And if you want to learn more about the power of your mind, just go to balanceyou.org. You can check out all sorts of great information we have there, also on our YouTube channel at Balanced You. And you can even schedule a free 30-minute consult if you've got some stubborn pain that won't go away or some chronic pain that you'd like to be done with once and for all. Enjoy chapter 4. I'm Jenny, owner Balanced You.